Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my live. Drop your names into chat, everybody. Let's go. Welcome in, everyone. Drop your names in the chat. Drop your name in the chat. Hey, Emmy, how are you? All right, our first name is Malik. Here you go, Malik. Here you are, Malik. Then we got our next name is Emma. All right, Emma, here you are. Here you go. Thank you so much, Emma, for subscribing. And my next name in the chat is Suthaeus. Suthaeus. Here you go, Suthaeus. Here you go. Then my next name in the chat is Sky. All right, Sky. Thank you for subscribing. My next subscriber name is Lucia. Here you go, Lucia. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber name in the chat is Ajika. How are you doing, Ajika? Where are you from? Then my next subscriber name is Leroy. All right, Leroy. Here you go. My next subscriber name is Anna. All right, Anna. Here you go. You're from Georgia, Ajika. All right. Awesome. Then we got is Kyler. All right, Kyler. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber name. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, David. Thank you. Thank you for being my subscriber. Then we've got is Lisa in the chat. Thank you so much, Lisa. And the next subscriber in the chat is Cameron. Here you go, Cameron. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber name in the chat is Jace. Here you go, Jace. Where are you watching from, Jace? Tell me in the comment. And my next subscriber in the chat is Taslim. Here you go, Taslim. Thank you so much for subscribing, Taslim. And we got is Josh in the chat, guys. Josh, where are you watching from, Josh? Okay, Jace, you're from Minnesota. Okay, cool. Then we got Josh in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Josh. My next subscriber is Riley in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Riley. My next subscriber name is Trenton. All right, Trenton. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber name in the chat is Maya. Thank you so much, Maya, for subscribing. Here you are. Next subscriber name in the chat is Nia. All right, Nia. How are you? My next subscriber in the chat is Thailand. Here you go, Thailand. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber name in the chat is Olivia. Here you go, Olivia. My next subscriber name in the chat is Sierra. Here you go, Sierra. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Thank you. My next subscriber name in the chat is Ario. Here you go, Ario. Thank you for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Riley. Here you go, Riley. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is River. You are from Texas. All right. Everybody give it up for River. All right. Then my next subscriber name is Byers. Where are you from? Byers. Jennifer. Where are you from? Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sincere. All right, Sincere. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sincere. My next subscriber in the chat is Sarah. Here you go, Sarah. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Perry. Here you go, Perry. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Maddie. Here you go, Maddie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Maddie. My next subscriber in the chat is Cameron. Here you go, Cameron. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Addie. All right, Addie, here you go. Thank you, Addie, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Gania. Here you go, Gania. Thank you so much for subscribing, Gania. My next subscriber in the chat is Tegan. Here you go, Tegan. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Emma. All right, Emma. Everybody give it up for Emma. Thank you so much, Emma. Then my next subscriber is Autumn. Thank you so much, Autumn, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Dylan. Everybody give it up for Dylan. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Princess. My Princess. Everybody, Princess is in the chat. Everybody give it up for Princess. Then we've got is Nikki in the chat. Here you go, Nikki. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Jackson. Here you go, Jackson. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Hunter. Thank you so much for subscribing, Hunter. My next subscriber in the chat is SpectreX. SpectreX. All right, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Lilia. Everybody give it up for Lilia, guys. Shout out to Lilia. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Lilia. Everybody give it up for Lilia. Then we got is Maria in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Maria. My next subscriber in the chat is Rohan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you, Rohan. Then my next subscriber in the chat is it's Gabby. Guys, it is Gabby, my next subscriber. My next subscriber in the chat is Kate. Everybody give it up for Kate. All right. My next subscriber is Marcel. Everybody give it up for Marcel. My next subscriber in the chat is Caleb. Here you go, Caleb. Thank you so much for subscribing. After Caleb, we've got is Easton in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Easton. My next subscriber in the chat is Vince. All right, Vince, how are you doing? Where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Ariana, you are next. Thank you so much for subscribing. Ariana, where are you watching from? Tell me which country. Then we've got is Lily in the chat, guys. Where are you watching from, Lily? Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is, thank you so much, Gemma. Everybody give it up for Gemma. Shout out to Gemma. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Gemma. Thank you. Then we've got my next subscriber is Brody. All right, Brody. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody like and subscribe. I really like it when people like and subscribe. Then we've got my next subscriber in the chat is My next subscriber in the chat is Haley. All right, thank you so much, Haley, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is here you go. Thank you. And my next subscriber in the chat is everybody drop your name in the chat. All right. All right, everybody drop your name in the chat, guys. All right. Melissa in the chat, thank you so much for subscribing, Melissa. Everybody give it up for Melissa. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Alina. Thank you so much, Alina. Everybody give it up for Alina. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Shout out to Alina. Then we've got Tia in the chat, guys. Thank you so much, Tia, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Keegan. Here you go. Keegan, thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing, Keegan. My next subscriber in the chat is Crystal. Thank you so much for subscribing, Crystal. Here you go. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat is Machi. Thank you so much for subscribing, Machi. Thank you so much. My next subscriber in the chat is Ethan, and he is from Canada. All right, Ethan is from Canada. Everybody give it up for Ethan. Shout out to Canada. All right, then we got Charlene. Here you go, Charlene. Thank you so much for subscribing. And then my next subscriber in the chat is Erica. Everybody give it up for Erica. Thank you so much for subscribing, Erica. Everybody drop your names in the chat right now. And Richie is from England. How are you, Richie? All right, give it up for Richie. My next subscriber name in the chat is... Thank you so much, Theo. Everybody give it up for Theo, guys. Thank you so much, Theo. Then we've got Allie from Indiana. All right, everybody give it up for Allie. Then we've got my next subscriber is Lena. Lena, what flag is that? Which country flag is that? Tell me. Then we got Bryson in the chat. Thank you so much, Bryson, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Prather. Thank you so much, Prather, for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is... Okay, Lena, you're from Sweden. Awesome. Amazing. All right, we've got Kamari in the chat. Then we got my next subscriber in the chat is... All right, Tessa. All right, Tessa. Everybody give it up for Tessa. My next subscriber in the chat is... All right, it is Henry. Where are you watching from, Henry? Here you go. Hold on, Henry. Let me do that again. Henry, here you go, Henry. Thank you so much for subscribing, Henry. My next subscriber in the chat is Clayton, and he's from the United States. Everybody give it up for Clayton. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Gio. How are you, Gio? Thank you so much for subscribing, Gio. Then my next subscriber is Kim. Everybody give it up for Kim. He's from the United States. Thank you so much, Kim, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber is Josiah in the chat. Everybody give it up for Josiah. My next subscriber is Kenna. Thank you, Kenna, for subscribing. Thank you. Then after Kenna, we've got Ryan from Turkey, guys. We've got Ryan in the chat from Turkey. Everybody give it up for Ryan. My next subscriber is Emily in the chat, guys. Thank you so much, Emily, for subscribing. All right. Let's go. Then we got Kosala. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kosala. All right, amazing. Then we got Miles in the chat, guys. Thank you so much, Miles, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Ben. All right, everybody, give it up for Ben. Thank you so much, Ben. Then we got Isaac in the chat. All right, Isaac, thank you so much. Then we've got in the chat is Yeeps. Oh, okay, Yeep. Here you go. All right, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Daniel. All right, Daniel, thank you so much for subscribing. Daniel, here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Cheyenne. Here you go, Cheyenne. Thank you so much, Cheyenne, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Neve from China. Neve, how are you? Here you go. Everybody give it up for Neve. Then we've got Jasmine in the chat. Jasmine, thank you so much for subscribing. subscribing. Jasmine, thank you so much. And my next subscriber in the chat is Ewell. Here you go. Thank you, Yo, for subscribing. Here you go, Yo. My next subscriber in the chat is James from South Korea. Everybody give it up for James. He is from South Korea. Then we got Sophia in the chat. Where are you from, Sophia? Tell me in the chat. My next subscriber in the chat is okay. Then we got all right, Alina in the chat. Thank you so much, Alina, for subscribing. Here you go, Alina. My next subscriber is Ian. Thank you so much, Ian, for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber is Luciano. Here you go, Luciano. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lucia. No, here you go. Thank you so much. My next subscriber in the chat is Lewis. All right, who is my next subscriber? Let me check. It is Zorro. All right, Zorro. Then we've got Lanny in the chat. Thank you, Zorro and Lanny. Thank you so much. Here you go, Lanny. Everybody give it up for these guys. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Griffin. All right, Griffin, how are you doing? Thank you so much for subscribing, Griffin. Then my next subscriber is all right, Jake in the chat. All right, everybody give it up for Jake. Guys, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Jake. Thank you. Then we got all right, Morning Star. How about that? I write Morning Star for you. Morning Star. Here you. Hold on, Morning Star. All right, Morning Star. Here you go. And my next subscriber in the chat is Abigail. Here you go, Abigail. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Wendy. Thank you so much for subscribing, Wendy. Thank you so much. My next subscriber in the chat is Cara from the United States of America. Thank you so much, Cara, for liking and subscribing. Shout out to Cara, guys. Shout out to Cara. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Everybody like and subscribe. Then we got is Michael in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Michael. Then we got is Kaser in the chat, everybody. Kaser is here. Then we got is Samar Veer. Here you go, Samar Weir. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Kosala from Sri Lanka. Kosala, here you go. You're from Sri Lanka. All right. Then we've got is Tyler in the chat. Everybody give it up for Tyler. My next subscriber in the chat is, everybody drop your names in the chat. Everyone drop your name in the chat. Let's go, everybody. My next subscriber is Thea in the chat. Thank you so much, Thea, for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is, you're welcome, Morningstar. Then we got is Cedric. Here you go, Cedric. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, all right, then my next subscriber in the chat is Tiffany. Here you go, Tiffany. Thank you so much for subscribing, Tiffany. Here you go. And Tiffany's from Canada, guys. My Canadian people in the chat. Shout out to you guys. Max said you are next. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Elena. All right, Elena. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Caleb. Here you go, Caleb. Thank you so much for subscribing, Caleb. Thank you, Nayla. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nayla. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat is, let me see the chat, Caleb from Toronto. Everybody give it up for Caleb. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Cadence. Here you go, Cadence. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Eel. Here you go, Eel. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is, it is Brielle. Thank you so much, Brielle, for subscribing to me. Thank you. And my next subscriber in the chat is Nia. Welcome in, Nia. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Nia. Then my next subscriber is Johnny. All right, Johnny. Thank you so much for subscribing, Johnny. My next subscriber is Dijo. Thank you, Dijo, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Riley. Thank you so much, Riley, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Amna. Thank you so much, Amna, for subscribing to me. Next subscriber after that is Anand. Here you go, Anand. Thank you so much for subscribing, man. Then we've got is Sean in the chat. Thank you so much, Sean, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Joe Singh. Am I pronouncing it right? Did I pronounce your name right? Just say, all right, then we got is Coco in the chat. Here you go, Coco. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Thora. Everybody give it up for Thora in the chat. We've got next is everybody drop your name in the chat. Let's go. Everybody drop your names in the chat. Then we have is Kai in the chat, guys. Everyone give it up for Kai. Then we got is Sach in the chat. Sach. All right. Then we've got is Yub. Here you go, Yub. Thank you so much for subscribing, you. Here you go. My next subscriber is Saidu. Here you go, Saidu. Thank you so much for subscribing, Saidu. My next subscriber in the chat is Silas. Welcome back, Silas. Welcome back to my life. How are you doing? Everybody give it up for Silas. Then we got his Rice in the chat. Here you go, Rice. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Ben. All right, then my next subscriber after is D Young. Here you go, D Young. Thank you so much for subscribing, D Young. Here you are. My next subscriber in the chat is Tadveer. Here you go, Tadveer. Thank you so much for subscribing. All right, then we got is Nathan in the chat, guys. Everybody, give it up for Nathan. All right, then my next subscriber in the chat is. Then we got is Capson. Here you go, Capson. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Capson. My next subscriber in the chat is Sarah. All right, Sarah, welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Cavion in the chat. Thank you so much, Cavion, for subscribing. Here you go, Cavion. Much love to all my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Maddie in the chat. Thank you so much, Maddie, for subscribing. Then we got is Chagley in the chat. Everybody give it up for Chagley. All right, Chagley, what is up? Where are you watching from, Chagley? Then we've got his Ryan. Thank you so much, Ryan, for subscribing. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sal. In the chat, everybody give it up for Sal. Then we got my next subscriber is Nayeli. Nayeli, thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Nayeli. Then we got my next subscriber in the chat is Emily. Where are you from, Emily? Emily, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Yan. What's up, Yan? Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Victoria. All right, Victoria, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Manos. How are you, Manos? Where are you watching from? My next subscriber in the chat is Gio. Here you go, Gio. My next subscriber in the chat is Kaden. Thank you so much, Kaden. My next subscriber is R10. Thank you, R10. Here you go. Thank you, R10. My next subscriber in the chat is Liv. Here you go, Liv. Thank you so much for subscribing, Liv. And my next subscriber is Sayuri. Here you go, Sayuri. Thank you so much for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is Blue. Here you go, Blue. Thank you so much for subscribing, Blue. Thank you so much. Then we've got is Ella in the chat. Everybody give it up for Ella. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Ella. Thank you. Here you go, Ella. All right, thank you, Ella, for liking and subscribing. Everybody give it up for Ella. Shout out to Ella. Then we got his Bob in the chat. Thank you so much, Bob, for subscribing and liking. Thank you. Then we've got is Atolemi. Thank you so much for subscribing, Atolemi. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Aki. Here you go, Aki. Thank you so much for subscribing, Aki. Then we've got is Kayla in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kayla. My next subscriber in the chat is Eliza. Thank you, Eliza, so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Layla. Thank you, Layla, so much for subscribing to me. My next subscriber in the chat is Zach. Thank you, Zach, so much for subscribing to me. My next subscriber in the chat is Dan. Here you go, Dan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Christopher from Miami. Here you go, Christopher. Thank you so much for subscribing, Christopher. My next subscriber in the chat is Sudeep. Here you go, Sudeep. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Sukraj. Here you go, Sukraj. Here you are. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Madden. All right, Madden, how are you, Madden? Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Jasmine. All right, everybody give it up for Jasmine. All right, my next subscriber is Zibby. Zibby. Here you go, Zibby. Here you go. All right, my next subscriber after Zibby, it is Josh. Here you go, Josh. Thank you so much for subscribing, Josh. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Levi. Thank you so much, Levi, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Ibrahim. Here you go, Ibrahim. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Davi. Thank you, Davi, for subscribing. My next subscriber is River. Thank you so much, River, for subscribing to me. River, thank you very, very much. Then my next subscriber is Alan in the chat. Thank you, Alan, so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Nolan. Here you go, Nolan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Najia. Najia, here you go. All right, Najee, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Jamie. Thank you so much, Jamie, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Liam. All right, Liam, thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber is Anish in the chat, guys. Anish, thank you so much for subscribing, Anish. Everybody give it up for Anish. Then we got is Sabrina in the chat. Everybody give it up for Sabrina. All right, how are you, Sabrina? Where are you watching from? And my next subscriber is Asana in the chat. Sorry, Asana. Let's do Asana. Here you go, Asana. Thank you so much for subscribing, Asana. Then my next subscriber is Azad. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Sultan. Thank you so much, Sultan, for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Christian. All right, Christian, thank you so much for subscribing. Then after Christian, we got is Kylie in the chat. Thank you so much, Kylie, for subscribing to me. My next subscriber in the chat is Sunny. Everybody give it up for Sunny. All right, Sunny. Then we've got is Fedor in the chat. Thank you so much, Fedor, for subscribing. Here you go, Fedor. Thank you. Then my next subscriber is Dom in the chat. My next subscriber after Dom is Mila in the chat, guys. Everybody give it up for Mila. Then we've got Azad in the chat, guys. Everybody give it up for Azad. Then we've got my next subscriber is Miller. Here you go, Miller. Thank you so much for subscribing. After that, we've got is Lila in the chat. Everybody give it up for Lila. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Cora. Everybody give it up for Cora. All right. My next subscriber in the chat is Case. Thank you so much, Case, for subscribing. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Freya. Thank you, Freya, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Alex. Everybody give it up for Alex. Where are you from, Alex? And we got his Grace in the chat. Everybody give it up for Grace. And my next subscriber is Kale in the chat. Thank you, Kale, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Mia. Here you go, Mia. Thank you so much for subscribing. And then my next subscriber in the chat is Juliana. Everybody give it up for Juliana. Here you go, Juliana. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat is Edwin. Here you go, Edwin. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Ammon. Thank you so much, Ammon, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Aubrey. All right, everybody, give it up for Aubrey. My next subscriber in the chat is Nadia. Here you go, Nadia. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Ricky. Everybody, guys, you have to write your names really, really fast, because I am looking at the bottom of the chat for names. At the bottom of the chat, if you write your name really, really fast constantly, I'll be able to eventually see it. Okay, you just gotta be very fast with your names, guys. Okay, then we've got Sid in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sid. Then we've got Milady. Thank you so much, Milady, for subscribing. Here you go, Milady. My next subscriber name in the chat is Ivan. Thank you so much, Ivan, for subscribing. All right, then my next subscriber is Lydia. Here you go, Lydia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lydia. Where are you from? Then my next subscriber in the chat is Carl. Here you go, Carl. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is Ben in the chat. Thank you so much, Ben, for subscribing. Then we've got is Annabelle in the chat. Thank you so much, Annabelle, for subscribing. Here you go, Annabelle. Here you go. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat is Jalen. Here you go, Jalen. Thank you so much for subscribing, Jalen. My next subscriber is Lewis in the chat. Thank you so much, Lewis, for subscribing. My next subscriber, Carolina. Here you go, Carolina. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is, all right, it is Kays. What's up, Kays? Thank you so much for subscribing, Kays. And my next subscriber in the chat is, everybody hit that subscribe button that we've got is, everybody drop your names in the chat. Drop your names in the chat. Chart, here you go, Chart. Thank you so much for subscribing, Chart. My next subscriber in the chat is Stop Plays. All right, Stop Plays. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Daniel. Where are you from, Daniel? Then my next subscriber in the chat is Halia. Thank you so much, Halia, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Gazel. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gazel, for subscribing. Here you go, Gazel. My next subscriber in the chat is Cameron. Here you go, Cameron. Whoops, Cameron. Here you go. Cameron. Hold on. Cameron, here you go. My next subscriber after Cameron is Ella. Here you go, Ella. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Bree. All right, everybody, give it up for Bree in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Isabella in the chat. Isabella, here you go. Thank you so much, Isabella. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Malena. Here you go, Malena. Here you are. Thank you so much for subscribing, Malena. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Eddie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Eddie. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat is Viet. Here you go, Viet. Thank you so much for subscribing, Viet. My next subscriber in the chat is Azad. Here you go, Azad. Thank you so much for subscribing, Azad. My next subscriber in the chat is Myla. Here you go, Myla. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Noah. Here you go, Noah. Thank you, Noah, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sophia is in the chat, guys. Everybody give it up for Sophia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sophia. Then my next subscriber name is Brody. Here you go, Brody. Thank you so much for subscribing, Brody. My next subscriber is Christy in the chat. Christy, here you go. All right, my next subscriber name in the chat is Sugayla. Here you go, Sugayla. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sugayla. Then my next subscriber is, all right, Elizabeth. Here you go, Elizabeth. Beth, thank you so much for subscribing. Elizabeth, here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Gracie. Here you go. Sorry, Gracie. My next subscriber is Gracie in the chat. Thank you so much, Gracie, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber name in the chat is Richard. Here you go, Richard. Thank you so much for subscribing, Richard. Here you go, my next subscriber. My next subscriber is Tilly in the chat. Here you go, Tilly. All right, thank you so much for subscribing, Tilly. My next subscriber is John in the chat. Thank you so much, John, for subscribing. Then after that, my next subscriber is Jenna in the chat. Jenna, thank you so much for subscribing, Jenna. Here you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Marvin. Here you go, Marvin. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Dalen. Here you go, Dalen. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Joel in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Joel. My next subscriber is Lewis in the chat, guys. Thank you so much, Lewis, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Dom in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for subscribing, Dom. Then we've got is Jumong in the chat. Jumong, here you go, Jumong. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Mario in the chat, guys. Thank you so much, Mario, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Leah. Leah. Thank you so much for subscribing, Leah. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Taleb. Everybody drop your names in the chat. Here you go, Taleb. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Pearl. Here you go, Pearl. Thank you so much for subscribing. You are like a pearl. All right, then we've got is Ari in the chat. All right, thank you so much, Ari, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber is Evelyn. All right, everybody give it up for Evelyn. Here you go, Evelyn. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber is Laban in the chat. Thank you, Laban, for subscribing. Thank you so much, Laban. Here you go, Laban. My next subscriber in the chat is Rudra. Here you go, Rudra. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Rudra. And my next subscriber after that is, hold on, guys, it is Hadid. Thank you so much, Hadid, for subscribing. Here you go. Thank you, Hadid. My next subscriber after that is Marlene. Thank you so much, Marlene, for subscribing. Here you are, Marlene. Thank you so much. My next subscriber, it is Cordelius. Cordelius. Here you go, Cordelius. Am I pronouncing that right? Cordelius. Here you go, Cordelius. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is my next subscriber in the chat is Khadija. Here you go, Khadija. Then we've got is, everybody give it up for Khadija. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Ahmed. Here you go, Ahmed. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Ali. Here you go, Ali. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is, you're welcome. Then we got is Ryder in the chat, guys. Ryder, thank you so much for subscribing, Ryder. My next subscriber in the chat is Gigi. Here you go, Gigi. Thank you so much for subscribing, Gigi. My next subscriber is Arabella. All right, Arabella, thank you so much for subscribing, Arabella. Here you are. My next subscriber in the chat is Anthony. Thank you so much for subscribing. Anthony, where are you watching from, Anthony? Tell me in the comments. Then my next subscriber in the comments is, the chat is Grace. Thank you so much, Grace, for subscribing. Then we've got is Airmen. Thank you, Airmen, for subscribing. All right, thank you. Then we got is, my next subscriber in the chat is Aria. Everybody give it up for Aria in the chat. Thank you, Aria, for subscribing. Then we've got is Shay in the chat. Everybody give it up for Shay. All right, Shay, thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Yada. All right, thank you so much, Yada, for subscribing. Okay, my next subscriber in the chat is Messiah. Where are you from, Messiah? Which country are you from? Tell me. And my next subscriber in the chat is Gibson. All right, Gibson, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Matt. Here you go, Matt. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Matt. Everyone give it up for Matt. Then we've got his meme from USA. Here you go, meme. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Aurora. Aurora. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Aurora. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm going to go now. Thank you all so much for subscribing and liking. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I'll be back again later. Bye. Whoops. Hold on, guys. Oh, my goodness. Do this.